In spite of criticism from Jurgen Klopp and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Simon, Premier League referees Chiefs are going to continue to allow a more physical approach by players after receiving overwhelming positive feedback, thank God, for the first 2 weekends of the season. The PGMOL, the kind of match officials group, if you like, are said to be pleased overall with how things have gone and how games are flowing.
Yep.
Not before time, to be quite honest. However, that did not stop Ole claiming that the game was becoming like rugby. It didn't stop Jurgen Klopp saying it was going back 10 or 15 years and that it would only appeal really in the longer run to people who like watching wrestling. Sean Dyche, the Burnley manager, has bitten back at that. But first, let's recap. This is what Klopp said about it.
You saw these challenges with Barnes and Wood and Virgil and Joel. I'm not 100% sure if that's all, if we are really going in the right direction with these kind of decisions. It feels like we go 10, 15 years back to when we say, okay, oh, that is the football we wanted to see or whatever. We need to get used to it, but I think we have to think about it maybe a second or a third time. But it's always like this. There's one message now, let the game flow. And now nobody knows exactly what does that mean. We have to stick to protecting the players. We cannot deny that completely and say, well, that's a challenge. I love watching that. Then watch wrestling.
No, I mean, let the game flow means let the game flow.
Yeah.
Sean Dyche, Simon, was pretty livid about that. We heard from him. More than anything else, he was more livid about Klopp singling out his players and accusing them of playing rough. Have a listen.
My main disappointment actually is not a view of the game. I think every manager, every coach, every pundit, every fan has a view of a game. My disappointment is he's name checking players and absolutely no need to do that. You know, we've got professional players who work very, very hard in their careers to get to where they've got to. The implication of them being untoward in some of their challenges, I think, is wrong. I think it's inappropriate. It's not something that I do myself, as you all know. I very rarely, if ever, mention about individuals. I might imply some things, but I don't name them. I don't name other managers. Very rarely, actually, do I name managers. I certainly don't go on about other teams' styles. Now they go out about it. So I think, therefore, there's a little balance in my view of that point.
I say well said, Sean Dyche.
Yeah.
After that,
Yeah.
don't you? I mean, I saw you nodding to that.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, I don't think there's anything. I mean, some of the mythologies about football that you shouldn't do certain things is nonsense. It's drivel. It's self-serving, and it only works when it suits the person that's relaying the particular mythology.
what about don't call out other players from
Don't
other
call
teams?
out other players. Don't go in dress rooms. All this sort of rubbish, right? But with the problem for Sean is you have to remember what you say yourself. So when you called out Mohamed Salah for being a diver, you were specific and explicit. So you can't have it both ways. And of course he's not going to call out other teams for their style of play, because most of the teams that he plays against that have this issue with his team outplay them on football terms and not necessarily on physical terms. So he's going to have difficulty saying, I hated the way his players were technically better. I hated the way that they were a far better team than ours. So Sean's argument isn't well made. Sean has got some hypocrisy, obviously, for the point I've just made with Salah. But this idea, if you're a manager and you want to say something and you're talking to the media, why is it in society that when you accuse somebody of something, you aren't able to actually name people? When you talk about a football player, you can't talk about the specifics of that player because it somehow offends some moral code in an industry that has bugger all morality and integrity behind it. So the hypocrisy and the double standards of managers that run around doing precisely what they want, tap players up when they feel like it, yet call out foul because Jurgen Klopp, who, by the way, is fundamentally wrong in his disposition. Let the game flow is exactly what the game wants.
Yeah.
Now, there's an element of that may well be the broadcaster's edict as well, so I can understand why you're pushing back against it. But let the game flow is what football is all about. Robust challenges are part of it. Taking contact out of sport is not what the English Premier League or English football was built upon, and it's not what we should want sport to be. And I'm very surprised that Jurgen Klopp would advocate for that. But the suggestion that he somehow, it's beyond the pale of reasonable behaviour and professional courtesy for him not to say, I believe Burnley were too robust, and these are the players that I believe are too robust, is ridiculous. Why is that? Why is that some code within the industry of sport that really doesn't observe those codes itself?
But Sean's saying there's no need for it. He says we've got professional players who work very hard to have got where they've
So
got.
what? Does that make them beyond reproach?
He said the implication of what he's saying in regards to challenges is wrong.
Well, so basically, Jurgen Klopp is only entitled to an opinion if it concurs with Sean's opinion, and if he wants to give an opinion and then support that opinion. Because when you do something in life, if you're going to accuse somebody of something, you give an example, then you support it with evidence. So what Jurgen Klopp has done is give an example of something which is fundamentally wrong in my view, but then proceeded to support it. Right. So arguably, about the facts of whether he's right or wrong. Don't argue about the fact whether he's got a right to name check your players, because with the greatest will in the world, I couldn't give a monkeys if his players have worked hard to get where they've got to. Well, what there's not... Oh, sorry. You've worked hard to get to... No, you should have been bone idle and lazy, and you should have got there without any hard work. We're not talking about reputational damage. We're talking about one person's opinion over another. No one is saying that because Jurgen Klopp, half of the football world wants to see players being more robust, wanting to have more character. So what Jurgen Klopp has said is his players are too robust. So that basically actually reflects back on his players, who are a bunch of soft-hearted, lily-livered, little limp-wristed twits, right? When the reality of it is that there's nothing wrong with being robust. So it's not reputational damage. So Sean should have just pared it back and gone, thank you for the compliment of name-checking my players, because I like them being robust.
So let me get this right then, if I can. Klopp's wrong in his argument.
Of course he is.
But Sean's wrong.
Yeah, he is
and
too.
Objecting to his own players being personally called out by Klopp.
And he's a hypocrite, because he's done it himself. Right. He called out Mohamed Salah for being a diver. Specifically, he didn't go such and such a player. He said, Mohamed Salah is a diver. Sean, I'm sorry, mate. Short-term memory might be an issue for you, but the fact of the matter is you said it yourself. So you can't have it on one hand, but that is professional sport. That's our national sport.
Anyone ever call you out and name you in the same time?
Called me out and named me at the same time? No, I don't think so.
Any other owner name you when they called you out?
Yeah, Bristol City. Are you being facetious?
No, on you go.
Bristol City chairman didn't like me very much. Called
and
me out and named me. Yeah, he did. Yeah, did on radio.
Did you get in touch with him?
I couldn't care less what his opinion was. He was an irrelevance. His opinion is his own. I'm not offended by someone who's... I don't walk around being offended on behalf of other people or offended what people say about me. If he didn't like me, fine. Good luck to him. He's not on my Christmas card list. But Sean and some of his managers, and it is driven, I know, by media cycles and the need to get information out of them. Yeah. But you know what? You can't say things like you can't name check players when you've done it.
You've done it yourself. Am I on your Christmas card list?
No.
All right, fair enough.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.